Oh my. Well, we're living a good life. We're living a good life. Right?
Amen.
You are so talented, and we are so blessed. I mean, everybody's talented. I'm just getting the groove up here, and it's okay. Here we go. Let's just get in the flow. And so many of the words that you said, I know Asha always asks me to text her a little few notes or lines about what my talk's going to be centered on, and so I text her a few things, and I think she just wrote the talk, or that's what it is, the talk. So it's so perfect. I'm going to encourage you this morning to use this, perhaps, if you are so inclined. Because this morning I'm talking about the gift of giving. Did you know that there's a gift in giving? Because oftentimes we think of receiving is when a gift is involved, but actually there is a gift inherent in the action, in the energy of giving. It's amazing sometimes, even the reading that was read earlier. I love how Thomas Troward, in the Hidden Power, this was actually in 1921 when he wrote this, and for those of you who are not familiar with him, he was one of the three major people with science of mind, actually. Emerson and Ernest Holmes and Thomas Troward. So I pulled from that because what I loved so much was the spirit of opulence. When you think of the word opulence or you feel it, what washes over you? Isn't that just a wonderful, wonderful feeling? Get into the energy of that because we truly are energy beings. So think of opulence. Consists in cultivating the feeling that we possess all sorts of riches, which we can bestow upon others. I'm getting God bumps as I say that. That we can bestow upon others. Isn't that amazing? That we have these riches, these treasures, these wonderful things, whatever you want to call them, that we can offer freely. That we can share with joy. I think that is just such an amazing thing that we were created in such a way that we can do that. And I think sometimes it's very easy to forget that we can do that. It doesn't have to be anything big. It doesn't have to be a material thing that we offer somebody. It can be a kind thought expressed in a kind word, a compliment. It could be a flower. Right now, I want you just to take a moment and just to breathe into this place of beginning to awaken to the gifts that are within you right now. If I asked you to name a few of them, would you be able to come up here and do that? Boom, boom, boom. Or would you have to really think? Because sometimes it's very easy, I believe, in our human experience to say, I don't have anything to offer. And surely don't ask me to write a check because my bank account is telling me that there's nothing here. Somebody's chuckling back there, but isn't that what we look at? The appearance of, oh my goodness, how could I possibly offer something? You've got to be kidding. But in that moment, as it talks about in here, when we start to choke off that outflow, what do? We disturb the law of circulation, the intelligence of nature, because we're saying, oops, I have to stop it right here. We forget that truly we are energy beings that are here to be in that flow, just like life. I love fall. It's my favorite time of year. And when I'm standing in the kitchen washing dishes or whatever it is I'm doing in the kitchen, there's a beautiful window there, and now the leaves are cascading. And I'm like, wow, it's like snowflakes. In a different manner, at least I don't have to shovel the snowflakes, but I do have to rake the leaves, actually, and get out there and do some yard work, which I did, actually, the other day. I haven't been out there in a long time, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to mow the yard and do a few things. I'll be out here about an hour. That was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 7 o'clock that evening, I was completing my task, and I looked at the azalea bushes I trimmed. I looked at all the other things that I had done, and I was like, wow, this house can breathe now. This house is in the flow. And I cleared away those things. But I was so in touch, so connected. And what was happening was, what I felt anyway, I was giving something, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was so in the flow. I was loving the moment and what was coming back to me. I was so connected to Mother Earth and to nature and to the trees and the squirrels and the rabbits and chipmunks and you name it. I was connected to Source. No wonder I was going for 6 hours. And ordinarily, I would say, oh, you know, my shoulder might bother me, my neck might bother me, because there's some stuff going on. But I cast it aside, and I let it go. I just let it go. And I thought, I'm going to do something that brings me closer to God. Something that feels good. But I wasn't even conscious of it in the human sense. I was in a different consciousness. And that's what giving is about. That's what we are here to do, is to tap into that true essence of all that we are created, not to just do, but to be. I have a question for you. How do you feel when you give? How do you feel? Is there ever a time when fear comes into your experience in giving? Like, oops, if I give this, am I going to get something back? Is it going to be returned to me? Am I giving with a grudge? Am I giving out of expectation that something's going to be returned to me? Or obligation? It's fascinating because I know, and I know you all know, that in that moment that we give something, we are truly called to examine the space, the consciousness from which we are giving. That is so important. If I had to say one thing to you to write down on your piece of paper, is to focus your attention on that. Am I giving freely? Am I giving knowing that I live in a universe, knowing that I am sourced from a place that there is an endless supply, regardless of what my checkbook might say, because that's just a number. It doesn't mean anything. It is truly an illusion. But it doesn't mean I'm going to go out and charge up my credit card so I can say, woohoo, you know, I'm going to put my money in circulation. That's a trap we can fall into a lot of times. But I want you to really think about how you feel when you give. And from this moment forward, are you giving from a place of a grateful heart? In every seed is a promise of thousands of forests. But the seed must not be hoarded. It must give its intelligence to the fertile ground. Through its giving, its unseen energy flows into material manifestation. I think oftentimes in our ego experience, it's very easy to get trapped into the law of attraction in a way that really does not serve us. It's very easy to say, I want to get. I want to give to get. And if I get into the vortex, okay, I can sit up here and language all that stuff with you guys all day long, but I get into that vortex, I'm going to get a car, I'm going to get a house, and blah, 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 blah. That's great. It's great to have those things, but to me, what do you do with them? Do you hoard them? Do you say, oh, look at me. I've got all this cool stuff. I'm a magical manifester. I know the law of attraction. Abraham, Esther, Jerry, they'd be going, woohoo, you got it. But what I say to you is, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? Inherent in giving is a gift that keeps on giving. An endless flow. It's energy. You can create a giving experience that is energizing, enriching, ecstatic, elevating, dynamic. What does that word mean? Things are moving. Like when the band is up here and they get us moving in this service. And Melanie comes on with a prayer. And what are we all doing? We're getting caught up in this magnificent vortex of energy. We're giving and receiving, and we are here to continue doing that in our lives. And to know that we are so rich, and our cup is overflowing, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing. Like Asha was singing, when I'm empty, oh, it comes right back in. Because the universe is saying, here's some more, because now there's a space. I think that is just so cool. I get excited like a little kid, like, woohoo! We get to dance. I love Alan Cohen. For those of you who are not familiar with him, if you've ever heard him before, I've heard him speak several times. One of his books is Relax into Wealth, and he talks a lot about prosperity. But I love this, and I'm going to invite you to stand up with me for just a moment. Just humor me, if you will. All right? When you say the word abundance, how does that feel? All right, let's break it down. A-bun-dance. Okay, come on. Boogie with me, let's go. Because you get so excited and you're prospering and you're moving and you dance. And we're dancing with spirit, we're dancing with the divine, so your buns are dancing. Thank you, Alan Cohen. And I remember he did that very thing with the congregation that day. And I was like, this guy is so cool. And that's it. Because when we're doing that, we are free flowing. We are not inhibited. That's source. That's life. Does the tree say, oops, I can't drop my leaves because what? What are people going to think? No. No, the tree's just being the tree. And you were created to do the very same thing. To let that life flow through you. To let it allow you to be nourished and fed. Allow your branches to reach out. And like a tree, provide shade and comfort. Perhaps a shelter from wind. Whatever its purpose is, you have that same thing inherent in you. You are here for something magical and magnificent. The law of circulation is called the law of giving. It's called the law of giving and receiving. It's called the law of reciprocity. It's called all kinds of things. Sometimes it's really good for us to just be with that and know that, yes, in order for me to give, I also have to be open to receiving. Sometimes we shut that flow down there as well. But this morning, I really wanted to focus on us as givers. Because in that moment, as soon as you offer something, it is returning to you in that moment. Take the word gift. Gratitude. Generosity. You can write that down. That's G. That's a God word, isn't it? G. Gratitude, generosity, giving. It's you can't outgive God. That's what we're here for. So you give from that place. Our true nature is one of affluence and abundance. We are naturally affluent because nature supports every need and desire. We lack nothing. No thing. Because our essential nature is one of pure potentiality and infinite possibilities. You are already inherently affluent, no matter how much or how little money you have. No matter. That does not define you. Because the source of all wealth is a field of pure potentiality, it is the consciousness. We're back to that again. Because it is that field. It is that consciousness. It's not something you know, you just are it. That is your nature. It is a consciousness that knows how to fulfill every need, including joy, love, laughter, peace, harmony, knowledge. If you seek these things first, not only for yourself, but others, all else will come to you spontaneously. It is already done. Just like the prayers here. When Sydney's doing her thing so beautifully, we put it out there. It is already done. There is no lag time with love. It's there. Just as your blood flows throughout your body, nourishing you with life-sustaining oxygen and nutrients, that's what it is. It's the giving. sustaining you, nourishing you in every moment. To keep harmony, health, wealth, and affluence circulating in your life, you must act in accordance with the law. Just like the law of gravity. What happens if you try to defy the law of gravity? Imagine that. Because we believe in that. It happens to us. That's why we're walking around and we're not floating in the air. We believe in that. So in order to really activate the law of reciprocity and the law of circulation, you must be a giver and a receiver. The word affluence comes from the root word affluere, which means to flow to. But you never thought of affluence as that. We usually think of it as some highfalutin kind of word. And the affluence means to flow in abundance. The more you give, the more you will receive, because you will keep, like I said, that abundance flowing in your life. Anything, really listen to this, just zero in on this, please. Anything that is of value in life only multiplies when it is given. Let me read that again. Anything that is of value in life only multiplies when it is given. That which doesn't multiply through giving is neither worth giving nor worth receiving. If through the act of giving you feel you have lost something, then the gift is not truly given and will not increase. Just let that settle into you for a moment. Because when you give something away, if you feel like you're losing something, to me it really calls you to take a look at what it is you believe and what consciousness you are living from. Some of the most powerful and precious gifts you have are silent and not spoken. These are the treasures that you have to offer. The gift. I'm envisioning every single one of you out there with a beautiful bow on top of your head. And every time you walk up to somebody, that you could think of yourself as this gift, that you have something to offer in that moment. Once again, giving from a grateful heart, from a place of generosity, changes not just your life, but the other person's life and the whole world around you. The intention, again, why are you giving? Where are you coming from? Get really clear with your intention. Because sometimes it's easy to say, oh, I'm going to do this because it's going to make me look good. And my ego is over there going, ooh, that person, hey, yeah. And then we get going with that. But really examine, why are you giving? Here at One World even, when you're giving, whatever it is you're giving, monetarily, your talent, your time, your treasure, what is that about? Because you, perhaps want to see this community grow? Because you like coming here and you want to what? What the mission statement is? We want to transform the world? One world. Be very conscious, especially in this time of focusing on the unexpected income prayer. I'm going to call it the expected income prayer. I'm going to change it. Because when we give with that kind of energy, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm attached to it, but we already know the universe is going to bring it back. And oh, these stories we heard this morning. Yes, Tom, beautiful. Think about what's happening in your life right now. The F in gift, to give freely. Not from a place of fear, because we know what that does. It chokes it off immediately, like the reading spoke to earlier. No conditions, no attachments. Just free-flowing, giving freely. And the T is, I want you to spend some time. And I know Melanie would agree with this. Spend some time. What are the treasures that you have to offer? On your little piece of paper, that's your homework this week, and a few other things. I want you to work on your bun dance. I want you to, choreograph some kind of dance and get moving. No kidding, no joking. I'm up here to what? To offer you a gift this morning. You're the gift that's being offered back to me. Because we're all in this together, in this flow, in this time. I just want to share a little bit of research with you before I close my talk. There's so much research. If you ever question the power of gratitude, and we hear all these stories, and it could be anecdotal, right? And we go, well, that's great, but hey, that's not my experience. Gratitude sucks. You know, I've heard some people like that. I have nothing to be grateful for. For those of you naysayers and doubters, the neuroscience of why gratitude makes us healthier and happier. Doctors Blair and Rita Justice reported for the University of Texas Health Science Center a growing body of research showing that gratitude is truly amazing in its physical and psychosocial benefits. In one study on gratitude, they randomly assigned participants were given one of 3 tasks. Each week, participants kept a short journal. How many of you keep any kind of a journal right now, or a gratitude journal? Okay, maybe half of you. I'm keeping notes, by the way. No, just kidding. No, Melanie is. She told me she'd take notes if I asked that question, okay? Okay. One group briefly described 5 things they were grateful for that had occurred in the past week. Another 5 recorded daily hassles. We record those up here, don't we? Yeah. Daily hassles from the previous week that displeased them. And the neutral group was asked to list 5 events or circumstances that affected them, but they were not told whether to focus on positive or negative. 10 weeks later, participants in the gratitude group felt better about their lives as a whole and were a full 25% happier than the hassled group. They reported fewer health complaints and, this is even just such a bonus, and exercised an average of 1.5 hours more. Isn't it amazing? When you get into flow, your body says, what the heck are we doing standing here sitting watching the TV being a couch potato? I call it a spiritual spud. Get off the sofa, and get moving. I think that was so cool. I was like, wow. People talk about wanting to be healthier and happier. You're in a physical body, folks, and your body would really appreciate being in that flow. Another study, people were asked to write. Now see the difference. That was like a weekly thing. They were asked to write every day, about things for which they were grateful. Not surprisingly, this daily practice led to greater increases in gratitude than did the weekly journaling in the first study. But the results showed another benefit. Participants in the gratitude group also reported offering others more emotional support or help with a personal problem, indicating that the gratitude exercise increased their goodwill towards others. Here we go again. When we really do our work and we focus on it, we are energized. And inherently is this gift that keeps on giving. I just think that is so wonderful. Anyway, indicating that the gratitude exercise increased their goodwill towards others, or more technically, their pro-social motivation. One other study on gratitude was conducted with adults having congenital and adult onset neuromuscular disorders. So now we're talking about physical issues, with the majority having post-polio syndrome. Compared to those who were not jotting down their blessings nightly, participants in the gratitude group reported more hours of sleep each night and feeling more refreshed upon awakening. The gratitude group also reported more satisfaction with their lives as a whole, felt more optimism. So what you're already doing, you're preparing. You're paying it forward. You're giving it forward, opening this path. Talk about abundance flowing to you. Another source of abundance is in the giving. I hope you're really listening and taking this in, and if not, go listen to the talk when it's on YouTube, because this is powerful stuff. And right here at One World, what we're wanting to create and manifest right now, there is no reason it can't happen now. Bring a friend. Grab somebody off the street. Let's fill these seats. And begin to truly become the gift that is endlessly giving. That is your nature. That is your nature. And perhaps most tellingly, according to and this is so funny, perhaps most tellingly, the positive changes were markedly noticeable to others. According to the researchers, spouses of the participants, listen to this one, spouses, partners of the participants in the gratitude group reported that the participants appeared to have a higher subjective well-being than did the spouses of the participants in the control group. All were always in relationship with everything. Imagine the difference you could make. There's an old saying that if you've forgotten the language of gratitude, you'll never be on speaking terms with happiness. There's an old saying that if you've forgotten the language of gratitude, you'll never be on speaking terms with happiness. Several studies have shown depression to be inversely correlated to gratitude. The more grateful a person is, the less depressed they are. So there's a lot of clinical research from psychologists. And the last one I'll leave you with for research. There was a study at the University of Washington, and this Dr. John Gottman has been researching marriages for 2 decades. The conclusion of all that research is that unless a couple is able to maintain a high ratio of positive to negative encounters, 5-to-1 or greater, it is likely the marriage will end. With 90% accuracy, he says that he could predict, often after only 3 minutes of observation, which marriages are likely to flourish and which are likely to flounder. I think that is just, whoa. It's like, hello. The formula is that for every negative expression, a complaint, a frown, put down, expression of anger, there needs to be about 5 positive ones. Smiles, compliments, laughter, expressions of appreciation, gratitude to offset that. So take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. If you started to get a little concerned and fearful about what I was saying, it's all right. Be gentle with yourself and begin to truly look at the treasures that you have to offer. When we begin to speak and act kindly towards ourselves, and we are grateful for all that we are, it is so much easier to do that with another person. Be it a spouse, partner, friend, neighbor, person at the grocery store, it does not matter. Because we can truly see who and what they are. And we recognize that. And it changes everything. So just know that you truly are a gift. Give yourself away. Give yourself away. Because when you're giving it, it's just love. That is what we're here for. So let's take that thought into meditation.